force. Resistance is futile. We got momentum approval. Invent the dark defenses cause our views get futile. It's brutal. So expensive, petty speed. And only foreign symbols all suspended sense. Self-suppression of evidence will be met with belligerence. And hesitant penance cause like the president intends. Hence, your confession is expected if you think they were persistent in a method. Yes, you guessed it. Blessed are we who come in the name of J. Our word spreads like a I declare. It's a state of emergency. The person and a sense. So don't expect the reality. Depend on me, my vanity. It's enough forgiving that you can't resist the skin. So give yourself a moving. It's still feel the warm emotion while you see. Cross cautiously. You can't deny the force. No, you can't. You can't deny the force. You can't deny the force. No, you can't. You can't deny the force. You can't deny the force. No, you can't. You can't deny the force. You can't deny the force. No, you can't. You can't deny the force.
October the 5th, 2023, a Thursday afternoon here on the Round Robin Thursday football special. I am Stephen Murray, broadcasting live from our Chicks Beach studios in the lovely Virginia Beach, Virginia, the United States of America. Man, what a great month October is. We have playoff baseball. We have all four division series set after a four series wild card sweep. Some dogs, some favorites, but we'll go ahead and break down what we have for the playoff slate as well. We have Thursday night football to get to, Washington and Chicago. We'll start with that as this is primarily an NFL show. And of course, college football to break down as well. So busy show here on the Thursday football special. I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. I said it last week, maybe even the week before. We should be in a bar or somewhere doing this show on Thursdays. So someone out there needs to step up to the plate, have us in there. It costs you nothing. It gives you free publicity. But you should have us in your establishment to do the show, and we can do a bang-up job as far as that goes, for sure. Let's see here. What has been going on in the world of sports? Of course, the baseball is probably the main focus in between the NFL games since last Sunday. And we'll do this Sunday's slate as well. We'll take a little bit of time to take a look at that. But baseball underway. The Diamondbacks, good job coming back from deficits in both of their games to win. The Tampa Bay Rays can't seem to score a run in the postseason at all. The Rangers move on, face the Orioles. The Phillies, Braves, here we go again. I said it last year when the Mets and the Braves fans were at each other's throats. Mets losing to the Padres in the wild card. Very laughable are the Mets to the Braves fans, but the real villains, almost like a bad Scooby-Doo episode, where the real villains all along were the Philadelphia Phillies. But hey, they got some banging offense. They can pop the ball out of the park. And here we go, Phillies and Braves round 2. Ding, ding. So we look forward to that as all these playoff games start on Saturday. And the Twins who do nothing in the postseason, now will face the hated Astros by many. So the Twins will be a very public team for sure, just for the sheer hatred against the Minnesota Twins. So Twins, Astros in one divisional series, Rangers, Orioles in another divisional series, Braves and Phillies in the other, and the Dodgers will play the Diamondbacks. And I think if you're running Major League Baseball and you're Fred Manfred, you could say that this is about as good of a scenario as you could get, considering that you don't have your big market teams like a Yankees or a Mets or even a Padres, the big spenders. The big spenders left on the sidelines and the youth movements by all these teams have propelled them now to playoff success and glory. I mean, talking about the Diamondbacks with their young team, the Rangers with their team. How about Bochy? Bruce Bochy again now with the Rangers, bringing that team to the playoffs. And, you know, if you're an analytics person who's just dead set on analytics, and we hear so much about that nowadays in sports, how about Dusty Baker and Bruce Bochy here in the recent years? Older statesmen, managers of the league, and all they do is get their teams into successful playoff contention. The analytics, it's a tough pill to swallow for a lot of people, and man, I've heard a lot of things here just in the last few hours alone. You know, Buck Showalter getting shunned on for not playing Daniel Vogelback, of all people, here recently. And I'm not trying to steal other people's thunder on the air, but man, you're gonna leave Buck Showalter as someone who's gonna lose his job, a good manager. Granted, he was fired he had to announce his own firing at a press conference. From above, new manager Stearns made Epler his henchman go down and fire Showalter. You can't even fire the guy face to face, and you have to let him go. But, you know, analytics is taking a real slap in the face here in the Major League Baseball postseason. The Tampa Bay Rays, I mean, analytics, how has that really gone for you here? You're always in the playoffs, but you can never, ever, ever get the job done. So we have great playoffs for baseball coming up, and we're going to break down all those numbers coming up for sure. But we have Thursday night football, and it is the Chicago Bears who blew a 21-point lead to the Denver Broncos, coming into a Washington Commanders team who lost to two of the better teams in the league. The Bills slapped them around down in Washington, but it could have been closer. I think Washington was their own victim to play calling for sure. But Washington, the Commanders, played very well at Philadelphia and gave the Eagles a good run, even had a chance to win it. Probably should have gone for two. But look, the Commanders at home tonight at FedEx Field, sold out stadium, by the way, which is kind of cool to see, considering where both of these teams stand at the current moment. And the Bears fans do travel well. But the Bears at Commanders tonight, and you just got to wonder if this is just a tough spot for the Bears. The Commanders, we said it all preseason. And, you know, Del Grande shoots us down a little bit with it. But the Commanders are the kind of team that can definitely get better as this season goes along. And if they're going to be one of the better, you know, mediocre teams of the league, then they should absolutely beat the Bears. The Bears, you got to give them a little bit of credit with the way Fields played last week. We had his over props and passing, which he destroyed that number. If you had it for over 300 yards, you got it paid huge, big time. I think that's Nephew Dave chiming in. Oh, let me get him real quick. Is this you, Dave? Hey, call 937-1134. Now, same first three digits, 937-1134. I got the wires hooked into the studio line too, not this number. Can you remember that? So instead of 0777-1134. I'll text you the number. I'll stay by. I'll text you the number. All right. Should have made it a little easier on Nephew Dave. All right, let me get him chimed in as he's on the road. We want to get his perspective as well. So let me get him figured out right here real quick. And you know what? That's the benefit of doing your own podcast, broadcast, and running your own network, is you can talk live on the air. Honestly, guys, I should open it up to y'all for sure. All right, let me plug Nephew Dave in here. Nephew Dave, what's up, man?
What's going on?
All right, so Nephew Dave joins us in the studio on the right now. All right, David. So I'm talking about baseball playoffs. We'll get to that in a minute. I'm not sure how long you have with me, but stay on as long as you can here. But I did transition. We'll get back to baseball, but I did transition to tonight's Washington Bears game, right? That's the big one on the board for tonight. -6 here for the Commanders, over under 44.5. I just talked about Fields, how he's been able to open it up a little bit now offensively. The Commanders playing two very, very tough teams back to back. And they played the Bills good in the first, at least for a quarter and 3/4 of the second quarter before things fell apart for them. And then they took Philly to the wire, literally. Maybe had every right to win that game. Riverboat Rod maybe should have gone for the 2 at that moment in time. But tonight, sold out stadium at FedEx, -6, 44.5. I just have all the feelings in the world that Washington can come out and really flex their muscles. The Bears are a bad team. The Commanders are a C-plus team, I think. They might be a C team at worst. They're a C-plus team right now with their effort last week, with their ceiling being a B team for sure. But you are the Commanders master and guru here. Go ahead and give the state of the Commanders, as you always do, and how this team can be successful tonight.
Yeah, Steve. So it's going to start, we've been talking about it the last couple weeks. They need to come out the gate fast. You dropped a tough one to Philly. Initially, I was okay with tying the game and going into overtime. Maybe that was just the emotions running from, actually coming back and making that a game. But now that I think about it, I think, they came that far. They lost in overtime anyway. Why not just kind of take a chance and then try and win the game with no time remaining? So definitely probably should have went for 2, but I think I understand the getting it into overtime. But look, we've seen pretty much every team do it, Steve. They're putting up a lot of points against this Bears team. Saw the Broncos do it. And your thought is on that, I think if the Broncos can do it, why can't we?
I definitely like the over for some reason. I'm just wondering if the Bears can get theirs. Maybe they get stymied a little bit on offense. But I definitely could see a lot of points by Washington.
See, and that's the thing, Steve, I was thinking about that is we know this game should probably go over, right? I think maybe you give a look at it with the under. And the reason I say
the Thursday night games have been under games. All of them so far.
Have been under games, and you look at the 2 games that they just played, they were kind of shootouts, both pretty high scoring, a lot of action. You just got to wonder what the energy level of these 2 teams is going to be. Now, obviously, Washington is very motivated to get back with a winning record. So it's what's the word I'm looking for here, Steve? It's going to be tricky because there's a little piece of me that thinks that this could slide under of like a 17-9 or 17-10.
I think Washington can ride their momentum from last week and put up their own points, which means 27-30. But what are the Bears going to give you? In fact, we saw so many NFL teams last week score just 3 points. 4 teams scored just so if you bet the lowest scoring team last week in the NFL, you had a 4-way dead heat split with the Patriots, or teams not to score a touchdown is what it was, which is the Patriots, the Saints, right? There was a couple other teams out there who It's just the Bengals were one of those teams as well. So there was a definite split in that regard. And when you're the Bears and you come off that disappointing loss at home, when you're up 21 points, right? Now it is you're deflated and you have no time to even think about it. You have to go on the road. But here's the deal. You have no time to think about it, but that's probably all you're thinking about as well. The next thing you know, you're kicking off in FedEx Field with a loud fan base here tonight.
Which is a sold-out game.
Yeah, it's a sold-out game. Now, the Bears fans do travel well, so I'm wondering how many tickets were scooped up by the Bears fans. There's probably going to be a good amount of Bears fans in the house for sure tonight, but they will be quiet. They will be quiet if Washington can come out. I think it's very important for Washington to come out and do exactly what they did against Philly last week. Philly had to come back and recover from that onslaught that Washington gave them. I don't think the Bears have that kind of capability in them.
No, Steve. If Washington can get off to a quick start, then I think they really put themselves in a good position to have, good control over this game.
All right, so if we're looking at lines in this game, and then that's what I'm going to do right now, and I'm trying to figure it out because I have a $100 free bet, and I'm trying to get a good free roll, and I've been plugging some different numbers in all along, and I liked over 52.5 for a number, but I just can't trust the Bears to help me out there, so I'm going to have to lean on an alternate line with Washington, and I think a good number for sure is just 12.5 or 13.5, although I think they probably win by more, to be honest. But if I'm going to play it safe and I have to do something, let me clear this bet slip that I have going on here.
I think 13.5 was something that I looked at. Actually, it is something that I have, actually.
I'm going to go 12.5. I'm only getting plus 210. 13.5 is plus 235. I'm going to give us and it paid off for me last week. I'm going to give me the benefit of a doubt of a Joey Sly off the upright field goal kick. Maybe he's a little exhausted from all the work he had last week against Philly. But I would look at Washington minus 12.5. I would look at an anytime touchdown score for Brian Robinson for sure. And I'm trying to fill in the third leg of the parlay. And I think my best bet actually is this, if I want to cash a decent, nice ticket. I think I'm going to look at Sam Howell over 225 yards at minus 186. I'm only getting 5 odds, but I think that's a winning bet, to be honest. So Commanders laying the 2 scores plus one extra point. They can miss one. Robinson for a touchdown. Howell for 225. That is plus 498. I think that's a good way to make my money times a cinco there. And I don't know. I'm tempted to do some other stuff. I know Fields for over 200 is paying well. I know that McLaurin for a touchdown can pay well. But the only thing that's getting me off McLaurin is that you like Dotson for sure. But how about our boy last week who's starting to get involved a little bit here, and we might see him get involved some more. And I'm talking about Curtis Samuel. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a good. If you want some good odds,
and Logan Thomas is back as well.
That Curtis Samuel, that could be a sneaky one in there. He's they like to do a lot of stuff with him, so he could get involved. And he's got some pretty good odds to score, Steve. So that might be one that to kind of juice you up if you want to take a chance.
How about this? And we talk about playing lottery tickets, Dave, and crazy stuff to happen to win money. But $2 just for the Commanders minus 2.5. And this is a stretch. I mean, let's be honest. This is a stretch. But Logan Thomas, 2 touchdowns. Curtis Samuel for 2 touchdowns. $2 pays $1,750. So if you have 8 quarters laying around, that might be something to look at for sure, because they're going to lock down McLaurin. Dotson is the next guy to cover up, right? So that's going to leave Samuel free. That's going to leave Thomas free. And the Bears secondary has proven that they can definitely give up points through the air and on the ground. I mean, honestly, any of these guys are at play. Robinson's plus 320 for 2 touchdowns. McLaurin is 14-1 for 2 touchdowns. In fact, I probably think I like that the most. He was very active last week, which tells me that there's some trust there with Howell and McLaurin. And we were on that too, Dave. Everyone in the studio liked Scary Terry last week, and he showed up and performed for sure against the good Eagles defense, who was going to key him for defensive stop number 1 wide receiver, right?
Right.
So I think there's any kind of number of angles to look at the Commanders tonight. You know what? And hopefully, if you do take them, maybe they put up 49 points or something crazy like that. To be honest, and roll, because that's what this team needs. They're not gonna let off the gas if they get a lead. They're gonna try to keep it going and gain positive momentum. This is not going to be a team that sits on the lead tonight. And if they do sit on it, you're sitting on it via Brian Robinson, who can take it to the house at any given moment.
Yeah, he really can.
All right, so that's what I'm looking at, Dave. What else might you be looking at prop-wise here tonight?
Prop-wise, let's see here. Well, I do have Fields for over 46.5 rushing yards. He's probably going to get free a couple times and pick up a first down for, anywhere 8 to 12 yards.
Well, that front four is bound to make him want to scramble for sure, right? And he's going to bail out.
The defense just kind of loses him, and he gets, a couple yards. And Robinson for over 65.5. You could probably even push that to maybe 75. He should have a good night, I feel like, against this Bears defense, who, we know is not the best unit in the league.
They may be the worst. In fact, I was looking at that earlier with the let's see. I was looking at that earlier. Let me try to pull that up real quick as I go to this one trusted website that I have here. Let's see here. All right, we'll have to get. I'll just get back to that. Trust me, the Bears defense ranks low. It's definitely like 29th or 30th in the league, whatever it is. They are not good. And you know what? I just think, how about this, Dave? If the Commanders can't capitalize and they lose this game, what does that say about them?
Oh, that's that would not be good for morale, Steve. That
is that an indictment on Rivera or even the offense coordinator?
Well, I think, they need some time to, I wouldn't say that just yet. Although against this team, then this is not a game you want to go out and lose. That's for sure, at home in the prime time. So, yeah, they need to avoid that. That would not be good for morale. But we got to remember, Steve, it is a rookie quarterback and a new offensive coordinator. I think that would kind of more reflect of Rivera than it would Bieniemy in my mind.
All right, 10-4. Survivor pick. Commanders worthy of that tonight.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, look, this team is not a bad team, Steve. The Commanders are not a bad team. You would think they'd be able to win this one. It's just, it might take a little time for them to be top tier.
I'm tempted to use them. I don't know if I actually have them available. Let me see if I do. Again, no one wants to hear my clicking, looking to see what my survivor is.
I used them week 1, but I'm out of mine, so that doesn't mean much.
Do you have anything for Commanders nation on the state of the franchise right now?
Well, I think it's Steve. It's moving in the right direction, and you can see that from the
Philly game gives you optimism, right?
It does, because, and the reason is the game before that was terrible. How he did not have a good game. 4 turnovers, most of them from him, and then he comes out and responds against a team like the Eagles. No, they didn't get the result, but I think the resolve and them fighting in that game kind of shows you that, this team wants to be better and that they will be better.
I cannot use Washington in my survivor. The one entry I have left, the teams I have used are the Commanders week 1, Buccaneers week 2 against the Bears, Kansas City week 3, and San Fran last week. And most everyone has used Buffalo, actually, by now in the teams that I have left here. I see good options down the road for some of the teams you might use, like Miami or Detroit. I can use those teams later on with weaker opponents. So I'm going to just take a chance with Buffalo against Jacksonville on the neutral field. Buffalo is just outclasses Jacksonville. And I think what helps in that one, Dave, to be honest, is the fact that Buffalo has had it rough with Jacksonville. So that's going to be a point of emphasis, not to let your guard down against this team this week. And this is almost like a revenge game. Let's beat the brakes off these guys, 9:30 a.m. in London, and have a fun flight home type of dealio. I think that's the Bills' attitude.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I'm gonna look for Buffalo on the onslaught for my survivor pick. But I'm not afraid to move the points with Washington tonight. I'll tell you that right now.
No, Steve. I think there's room to do so.
All right, Dave. It sounds like we have a good Saturday lined up in the sports lounge with Oklahoma and Texas. Plus, we'll have on the Orioles and the Rangers. So I want to hit up the baseball next, and I want to do college football after that. Are you able to stick around for the baseball next segment?
Yeah.
All right, so let's go ahead and take a break, and then we will be back right after me and Dave can catch our breaths. This is the round robin Thursday football special. When we get back, we're going to break it all down. We have Rangers, Orioles, Twins, Astros, Diamondbacks, Dodgers, and Braves, Phillies, and what is an outstanding lineup for divisional baseball in my eyes. All right, Nephew and me will be back right after this. Give us 5 minutes and tune back in if you don't want to listen to our wonderful commercials. Dave, you can call back or I'll keep you on standby, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, I'll just go standby.
All right, we'll be back right after this. Family-owned and operated, CP Shuckers Cafe and Raw Bar specializes in delicious cuisine, refreshing drinks, and a laid-back atmosphere. We opened our doors in 1995 and have enjoyed being a place to either relax or celebrate ever since. Whether you are in the mood to indulge in a great meal with your friends and family or watch the game, we promise that our inventive menu, attentive service, and skilled bartenders will have you truly satisfied. Both of our locations have spacious outdoor patios for enjoying the breeze and catching a little sun. Our friendly staff at CP Shuckers will make your next dining experience a pleasant one by delivering personal care. We are open until 2 a.m. Full menu will be served until 10 p.m. and late night limited menu until 1 a.m. For larger parties, please give the location of choice a call. Pacific Avenue, 757-425-8676 or Shore Drive, 757-412-2929. More information at cpshuckers.com. Thank you for your continued support and have a shucking good time.
Hey, does your home have algae or stains on the siding? Is there grime built up on your deck or brick patio? Coastal Pressure Washing Services has a warranty of professional services From pressure washing to window cleaning to deck and fence staining, as well as dryer vent cleaning, you got it all. Call Coastal Pressure Washing at area code 757-439-9810 or visit our website at coastalpressurewashing.net. Again, call Coastal Pressure Washing at area code 757-439-9810 or visit our website at coastalpressurewashing.net.
Dependable Solutions can provide all voiceover services for your advanced audio production needs. Think of us as an inexpensive option, no matter what the size of the project is. From one-word cameos to full script productions, contact Dependable Solutions at 757-354-5517. Do you want to advertise with Deep End Broadcasting? Send us an email at deepend757@yahoo.com. That's deepend757@yahoo.com.
This is the Deep End Broadcasting Network.
It is estimated that 23% of car accidents each year involve a cell phone. That's 1.3 million accidents a year. Reaching for your phone, you are 4 times more likely to crash. Dialing on your phone, 2.8 times more likely to crash. And texting on your phone, you are 23 times more likely to crash. Attentive drivers are safe drivers.
Know your gambling limits. Don't ever bet what you can't cover. Wagering on sports is only fun when you do it the right way. Not every bet will win. When you get on a bad run, know it and avoid trouble. Know your gambling limits.
Control your alcohol. Don't fight. Don't drink and drive. Your one punch could kill someone. It happens. If you're behind the wheel, you may think you are fine, but then the other driver is under the influence of texting, and then you are done. Control your alcohol.
This is the Deep End Broadcasting Network.
All right, Nephew Dave and I are back. Time to look at Major League Baseball. Dave, how cool is October, man, in your opinion, for sports?
It's great.
I mean,
It's
we make excuses for every time of the year. Like, oh, it's March Madness. Here we go. I mean, that's just why sports are great. I feel like they offer us something different all the time. We just got spoiled with the NFL first 4 weeks. We could focus on that. No one's really paying attention to baseball. But here we go. It's baseball playoff time. And we have a lot of pitchers off the board, actually, with lines, which makes things interesting right now. But I think what we'll do is we'll go ahead and focus on the series as they're going to potentially play out. And, we'll see how these pitching matchups go. Because right now, Baltimore, Minnesota, Philadelphia, Atlanta, and the Diamondbacks all have to be determined as their pitcher, which there's probably a lot of gamesmanship involved with that for sure. But Clayton Kershaw, how about this? Clayton Kershaw starting game 1. I feel like he's been playing 30 years by this point. How about another guy? Justin Verlander, you feel like he's been playing 30 years. He will be the game 1 starter for the Astros. And that's it, actually. So 6 of these teams are all to be determined. Arizona, Atlanta, Philly, Minnesota, Baltimore, Texas all have pitchers to be determined. Of course, we're just 2 days out from the start of this. The schedule goes like this. It'll be Orioles and Rangers at 1 o'clock. Apparently, there's a concert in Ravens Stadium. So they're going to try to avoid the conflict with that, trying to get people in and out of theirs. That's the reason for that to be the first game. But what a way to kick off the playoffs, to be honest. Minnesota and Houston will be the 4:00 game. You'll probably lose track of that a little bit with the college football. Alabama and Texas A&M is the big game going on then. The game that goes on at noon, Oklahoma, Nephew Dave's team, who's been fantastic so far for me, and Texas, who's been fantastic so far for me. Both of those teams square off to start the day at 1. The Phillies and Braves at 6:00 to start for them, p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the Dodgers, Diamondbacks, they won't make us wait until 10:30. That game's on at 10:21 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. First of all, I want to tell Major League Baseball, good job on the wild cards. Although 13 of the 16 series that they've had here in the 4 years have been sweeps. The 2 out of 3 is fantastic to watch. It's a quick one and done. You don't have to worry about the one team winning like the NBA. They move on, and then the other team has to play the other team, and then they move on or whatever, or the away team beats the home team. You can't keep up with how confusing that it is. But if you're the better wild card team, you host the team who's the worst wild card. It's as simple as that. So in that regard, they've done a very, very good job. And here we are set with a great best of 5 here as the divisional series will play out in both the American League and the National League. But say that, Dave, how about the staggered starting times of these games and the fact that even when I saw you yesterday, we're able to sit down and talk to each other and watch a 3:00 baseball game, right?
Oh, yeah, it's fantastic, Steve. I enjoyed, we you know what? I don't think we've watched a baseball game all season, so it was nice to get in the lounge, even if just for a little bit to watch a little baseball and chat about it.
Yeah, there's so many games you just kind of take it for granted at that point. But it tells you how important every game is too. The way that the American League West played out for sure, with the Astros, Rangers, and Mariners all kind of fighting till the last second.
And what a fantastic, absolutely fantastic divisional series, best of 5 in these playoffs. I like all these matchups. I think they're going to be good, except for maybe the exception. I think the Twins maybe win a game there. But otherwise, Steve, this is fantastic baseball coming up.
Dave, so I put out a bunch of $5 payouts here for exact matchups. And this is a good lesson to the viewers, and probably should have thought of this beforehand, but I really didn't see it until I saw it. But it is exact matchups of the World Series, American League versus National League. So what I went ahead and did is I did these for $10, and I did the rest for $5. But what I went ahead and did is I took our Baltimore Orioles, your Baltimore Orioles. I'm a big fan from my working days with the Norfolk Tides, seeing all those guys kind of go up through the system. The Orioles definitely have a good spot in my heart. My Tides were the reason why I became a Mets fan, and being able to, serve drinks in the funnest spot in the ballpark to all the fans definitely made me a fan of these guys. You couldn't help but to root for them for sure. So our Orioles at 1:01 p.m. Eastern Time Saturday played the Texas Rangers, Bruce Bochy, where I love Brandon Hyde for a manager for sure. But Bochy is the man, dude. He has done nothing but greatness. And he has a leader in Corey Seager and a bunch of support who can knock the ball out of the ballpark. Now, is there pitching a little suspect? We say that it is, but the guy, but Montgomery and Evaldi both showed up big time here against the Rays. Scherzer.
I think it's more so their bullpen, Steve.
Their bullpen, who's been slighted all year for being a bad bullpen, has been good for sure. And Dave, I'll say this: we were talking about your Orioles. you're worried about the pitching. I'm like, no, dude, don't be worried about that. That is that. I mean, they have good pitching as well. That being said, both of these teams with the good pitching, would you be shocked to see a 10-9 baseball game?
Absolutely not. I think most of these games between the O's and Rangers are going to be overs. Both of these teams can really, really light it up. And if the Orioles can, get their bats fell asleep a little bit towards the end, but if they can play offensively like we know they can, Steve, we've seen it most of the year. These could be some shootouts, Steve. These could be some high-scoring games.
So, Dave, they don't have anything listed here, and I know you're probably driving and can't look it up. If you're able to, if you're at the job site being a good supervisor or whatever and have the time, but a number on total runs for the series, which they will have somewhere because I've seen it before, like how many runs will be scored in the whole series. I would look for some alternate over for sure. The total is 8 for the first game, and with no pitchers listed by either team, they make the Orioles minus 140, Rangers plus 120. It's just going to be pick your poison on what you like here. But I think that the Orioles pitching does edge out the Rangers. I will say that. So as much of a fun series as this could be, I would not be shocked to see the Orioles run it through and have enough to even just edge out the Rangers. Don't be shocked if it's 5-4, 4-3. I mean, people do get tense. It is the baseball playoffs. Oh, man. But both of these offenses and the Rangers having the momentum after beating Tampa Bay, if both of these offenses can just get hot, I mean, the Orioles have depth. I don't think most of America and the world understands the depth that these guys have. When you have guys like Ryan Mountcastle on the bench at times, guys who have the potential to hit 40 home runs in the season, and even on their minor league roster, it'll be interesting to see who gets called up from there. We'll have to look at some transactions for them if we get a chance here. And they're liable not to make them until tomorrow. For sure. So pay attention to that. If they call up someone like a Colton Cowser from the AAA Norfolk team who won the International League Championship against the Dodgers Pacific Coast League team, don't be shocked to see some magical moments where, 3-run home run, 4-run, grand slam by Ashley Rutschman, here's Seager. He's unstoppable, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, none of that storyline would shock you, right, Dave? In fact, baseball should be justified as a fun sport if this series can just light it up.
And I think we're going to see plenty of that. I really do.
All right, so we're going to look for overruns total with the Rangers and the Orioles. I just don't see how it's not an overfest. But I'm going to give the edge to the Orioles and their pitching staff too. And don't be shocked if they win this one in a sweep, to be honest. But barely. Or it's going to be trouble.
We would be okay with that.
And honestly, it could be a sweep either way if you really want to play that number, to be honest. All right. Second series is a little tougher for me. Obviously, everyone's rooting for the Twins. They are at the Astros. Again, there's no let's see here. Are there divisional series. Okay, so the Orioles are minus 115. Let's go back to that real quick. Let's look at some of these. Orioles are minus 115. The exact order, we want to avoid that. The total games. All right, so 3 games is plus 270, 4 games plus 168, 5 games plus 146. And correct score, that's one I'd be interested in. So the Orioles, the sweep is plus 520, and the Rangers, the sweep is plus 710. I think you have great numbers on that. You can end up a profiter if you take both of those, Dave. You'll get paid plus 420 minimum, but I would even back that up with the Orioles to win 3-1 at plus 440, and the Orioles to win 3-2 at plus 330. So let me plug those numbers in real quick. And if we're risking, all right, so we don't want to do, actually, that's a Commanders bet, so we'll get them off. I was like, why is it paying so low? Because it's the Commanders to beat the shit out of the Bears. All right. Interesting. Okay. So $100 bets, Dave. Now, actually, we'll dumb it down to $10. That's what we want to do. We're not encouraging our listeners to bet $100 4-game correct scores. All right, $10. All right, so Rangers 3-0 is 7-1. Orioles 3-0 is plus 520. Orioles 3-1 is plus 440. And it looks like you'll lose money if you take Orioles 3-2. So we'll X that one out. And if you think the Orioles can win 3-1, 3-0, or the Rangers sweep, your worst case scenario off of $10 is that you'll win $14. Now, if you just do both of the sweeps, which is interesting, all right, so you just throw in $20. It just, the team gets hot, they beat the other team, right? Because they're cold with the bats, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So the worst that you'll win is 42 off your $10, and the best that you win will be 61. So you'll win between 41 or 61 if either team sweeps. Let's see if they have that as a prop. Nope. Yeah, so that'll be it. I don't know. Any other weird ones, Dave? You look for that?
No, I think if it were me, I think it would be 3-1 O's.
So plus 440 at 3-1, and that you just go ahead and throw your, let's say $25 in this case, you'll win 110. So that's a fun way. That's a fun way to look at it, right? If you want to win $100, here you go. Here's my 25. It's just like a poker game, or a small limit poker game where I go buy my lotto for tonight, Powerball. But you know what? There's a good shot it lands right there at 3-1. Okay, let's look at the Ranger numbers. So with the, let's look at the Astros and Twins numbers. Okay, so their correct score is this. Astros plus 540 for the win 3-0. In fact, this is weird. They have this listed a little differently. Astros plus 390 for 3-1, plus 300 for 3-2. And the Twins, the Twin sweep plus 820. 3-1 is plus 410. Astros plus 470. What's your guess there, maybe? Again, Verlander's the pitcher for the Astros, to be determined for Minnesota.
So, Steve, I think that's going to be 3-1 Astros. I'm not quite sure why. Something's telling me the Twins will get one somewhere in there.
So you like the Astros in this series, which is they're minus 154, Twins plus 126. Dave, I like the Twins. They've been one of the, what they are? They are like kind of that grinded out team, like the Giants. We talked about Bochy and his team, the 3 championships with the Giants for San Fran, where it's like, how does this team win? All they do is ground it out to second base, and somehow they score a run off walks or whatever it is. And, no errors, good solid pitching, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's kind of what the Twins have. And isn't everyone Astroed out, to be honest? Isn't everyone sick of the Astros?
Oh, of course they are.
Of course they are. So the Twins would be a fun one to bet on. Dude, the Twins sweep at plus 820 is interesting. In fact, let's do a round robin, Dave. We'll do a Twins sweep just to see what it pays. And we'll do your Orioles 3-1. I'll let you pick the next one, which is the Braves and the Phillies. The Braves minus.
Let's say that one goes all the way, Steve.
Braves minus 184. Oh, and you know what? If you want great drama, for baseball playoffs. This series would go all the way, to be honest. So let's look at that. All right, Phillies to win 3-0 is plus 1040. 3-1 is plus 540, which if you're a Phillies heavy fan, you jump all over all these numbers. 3-2 Phillies is plus 490. Good lesson there, Dave. So the worst case scenario, you're plus 290. And in the series price, the Phillies are plus 148. So if you just spread your money across the board with the Phillies on 3-0, 3-1, 3-2, your payout is now plus 290 above plus 148, which is 100 plus 142 extra. It is basically a 100% profit boost if you bet the National League Division Series correct score, Phillies versus Atlanta Braves, compared to the straight series money line. So that's a good difference, right, Dave? If you like the Phillies.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so the Braves 3-0 is plus 390, 3-1 plus 290, 3-2 plus 330. So, Dave, you like it to go all the way. If you think it's a game 7, let's do this drill. So, 3-2 Braves is plus 330. Phillies 3-2 is plus 490. So, if you put 100 on each, if it goes 7 games, the worst that you're going to get paid out is plus 230. The best plus 390. So, let's compare that to the correct games. If it goes 7 games or 5 games, it's plus 162. So if you bet 5 games total, plus 162, or Phillies Phillies plus 490, Braves plus 330. So that's what, plus 230, like we said. So that's plus 230 over plus 162 if you bet that correct score-wise. How about that, Dave?
Yeah, I could.
That's
get
how
on
you
board
get
with
value.
that,
That's why you don't bet total games and stuff, and you listen to shows like we produce. Now, look, you can listen to the gambling shows out there, people, and they'll give you their picks and straight up and tell you how you must be so precise to the line, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But who's the more precise one, Dave? The one who takes the chance and gives you a better number than another number. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just interesting how it can play out. That's one thing we do is we bring a lot to the table on this network that can give you really, really good value. I know you know that.
Well, yeah, we find the angles. That's what we do.
All right, so let's find it in the Dodgers and Diamondbacks. Dodgers minus 200 plus 160. Do you think the Diamondbacks are live here?
Well, Steve, this is one that I look at, and I'm just having trouble with it. I could see the Dodgers maybe 3-1 or 3-2, but how live the Diamondbacks are here, that I'm not sure of.
Well, there's definitely the experience on the Dodgers, but they've had the known names of pitching carrying them on for sure, right? Dave, I'm not so sure the Diamondbacks aren't live here. For the Diamondbacks sweep, 12-1, 3-1 is plus 630. And if you think they're just going to catch lightning in the bottle, which that's what happens. These teams who beat like the Brewers, like they did coming back, now they believe in themselves. They believe that they can get the job done. And if you think the Diamondbacks can win this one somewhat quickly, the Dodgers are a little rusty. And let's be honest, they were nothing down the stretch. I watched all the scores. I mean, I was paying attention to everything. The Dodgers were winning their games 5-2, 4-1. They never went over. Like the Dodgers minus 2.5, over 10.5 bets, Dave, that I like to do. You haven't seen that from them in months, and rarely for the season, to be honest. A lot of times falling short. Compared to past years, where the last 2 years, that kind of bet was cashing huge. So know that I know I've been paying attention to that at least. So the Dodgers are not blowing you out with runs, although they were one of the highest scoring teams in baseball but they had the good pitching. They just weren't getting there with their alternate run line and the alternate over. They just weren't. So maybe they hit a little rust here. I'm wondering. And I just think the Diamondbacks are live from the momentum alone. We've seen this act play out plenty of times. And Diamondbacks 3-2 plus 360 would be a decent one. And if you wanted the Dodgers 3-2, that's plus 490. So maybe split those up. Dodgers 3-2 plus 490 and plus 360, 3-2 Diamondbacks. That would be an interesting way to look at it for me. You're going to get a good price there compared to the total games, which is plus 176 for 5. So again, a bigger profit there. I think we see some drama, Dave. That's all.
Oh, it's the playoffs, Steve. We always will somewhere. So why not this one? Yeah, I mean, why not? Yeah.
All right. That's it. We covered them all. How about that? All right. So we have Twins 3-0, Orioles 3-1. What do you want to take for the Phillies and the Braves? Give me your official pick. Who wins this?
Braves.
All right. How many? What's the score?
All the way.
So 3-2 Braves, which pays plus 330. All right. And I'm going to take, just to juice it up a little bit here, and we'll look for the upset. I'll take the Diamondbacks, and I'll take them at plus 630 to win 3-1. How about that? And people are like, nah, there's no way the Diamondbacks will beat the Dodgers. People, it happens all the time.
Never say never.
Do you remember the Miami Heat? Do you remember the Miami Heat just a few months ago against the Milwaukee Bucks, the Celtics? Do you guys remember that? That's why the Diamondbacks can beat the
Don't
Braves.
forget about the Florida Panthers, Steve, and what they did.
Absolutely. All right, so this round robin, Dave, if we want to make this, and we'll bet them all. We'll bet the 2-game parlays, the 3-game parlays, and the 4-game parlays. And here it is. It's all these 4 combinations in either a 2-game parlay, a 3-game parlay, and then there's different combos of that, and then all of them can make just one 4-game parlay. So here's the payout. Again, the bets are Twins 3-0 plus 820. That's my crazy guess. Dave's guess 3-1 plus 440. Orioles over the Rangers. Dave's guess again, Braves 3-2 over the Phillies. And I'll take the Diamondbacks 3-1 over the Dodgers. And we'll go ahead and put $2 on every leg. And this bet on the round robin is a total of $22. All right, so there's a $22 investment. The ultimate payout is $5,666. So this is your way, people, to have fun watching playoff baseball. You're literally putting in $22. That is a quarter tank of gasoline to some people nowadays. All right, that's an order of chicken wings and 1 beer and a tip. Not even enough money for that, to be honest.
No.
But, here we are. We can sit at home and watch baseball playoffs, embrace the funness of it because it is fun, and win $5,666.94. Now, we must sweep the board for the Twins 3-0, Orioles 3-1, Braves 3-2, Diamondbacks 3-1, series correct scores. But somehow things don't go right. We don't win 4 and we hit 3 of them. We will still get paid out nicely. And at an average of $500 plus a pop, small change. All right, so 3 of those 4 get you $500 off that 22. And say we hit 2 of them. All right, we just hit 2. We risked $22, but we managed to get 2 of them right. It's just like fantasy football, Dave. You're still going to get a decent little payout here. We'll say it's about $85 off 22. So you'll get 4-1 on your money still. Yep, that is what it is. Plus 4073, 4-1 on your money if 2 of those hit. So why not round robin that, right?
Yeah, well, I think that's the way to play that one.
Okay. Anything else on the what do you got for the final, Dave?
For the series?
No, for who's going to play in the World Series? What's your pick right now?
The picks are it's going to be the Braves and the O's.
All right, the Braves and the Orioles. That pays plus 750 right now. All right, I'm going to take Orioles and Phillies since I have them bet both ways on that one, and I'm going to get paid. Now, this is before this last series, but 16-1 right now for me. All right, so I'll lean Phillies, Orioles. You'll go Braves, Orioles, and I'll say this: if you're wrong, then mine is going to be right, and if I'm wrong, yours is going to be right. I'll say that right now. The winner of this series goes all the way in the NL.
I think so.
All right. You want to do some quick football picks in a minute?
Yeah, we can do that.
All right. In fact, let's just go. We'll roll through them now. It's a 5:10 on the East Coast, and we'll get you all out of here. There's no need to do another commercial. We're rolling at the moment. There is some college football tonight and tomorrow, but we'll highlight the decent games as I scroll. Here's one that's been interesting to me, Dave. I think the spread's too much. We have Ohio State at home, minus 19.5, over under 57.5. And Maryland, who's been really, really good, and they have Tua's little brother throwing the ball around there and doing a good job as well. Maryland is at Ohio State, a big underdog. I think Maryland can actually hang within this number. Do you have any insight on that?
Oh, yeah. I'm seeing what? Minus 20 for Ohio State right now?
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Maryland has a great shot to hang in with that number.
And I think this is an over game as well. I don't think 57
this is a way over.
I don't think 57.5 is enough here. In fact, if we look real quick, we do have an alternate total points here. Just over 63.5 is plus 160. I think they cruise to the upper 60s. So juice it up a little bit if you like. Let's see. Dave's game, Oklahoma. This is a noon game, actually, and this will be on in the studio, ready to go for sure. So, yeah, Dave, don't come over at 1 if you have to. You can definitely come over earlier. Oklahoma, Texas. Oklahoma number 12, Texas number 3, minus 5.5 for Texas, over under 60.5. Texas throttled them last year, Dave. Go ahead and make the case for your Sooners.
Yeah, Steve. So last year, that was just a really off year for Oklahoma. There's just not much to say about it. First year head coach. It's just plain and simple not what they wanted. They didn't perform. Defense just, we thought it was going to get better each year. And it had a little bit until I don't know what the problem was last year. Defense didn't look great, and the team just didn't seem to be in sync. But I tell you what, that is not the case this year. That defense has made great strides, and they are playing, really, really good defensive football right now. Offense is alive. We know that. They can score with the best of them. They always have. So, Steve, this could be – I'm not really sure what to say about this game, but I think if you're an Oklahoma fan like myself, you probably feel pretty good. This is going to be a hell of a game, Steve. It really is.
Let's see here. All right. You know what? Oklahoma's live. I've been watching them, Dave, because of you, but I've been watching Texas as well. This definitely has a chance to be the best football game of the season, to be honest.
Easily. It definitely could be. It very much has that potential.
And if that is the case, it's an over game as well, for sure. Now, it could play to an under game, but I think both of these offenses are nice. Man, Oklahoma's got some good D, man. They really, really do, though. Let's see here. Now, we wanted to highlight the ACC games all season long. Poor by me, but not blaming it on him. But of course, John Hale has been in our thoughts with our boy from Blacksburg. So he was initially the one who's going to do the ACC games with me. We haven't been able to have him on. Not that he doesn't want to be on, but you know how life is here. And Mr. Hale taught me a lot here 20 years ago plus on how to do college football and sports radio all together. So here we are. And Dave's been gracious enough to fill in for the ACC games without Mr. Hale. So, Dave, we'll have to talk about Marshall and NC State. Minus 6.5 for them. Over under 44.5. What do you got on this?
I think, Steve, another tough one, but Marshall plays tough.
Yeah, they beat ODU. They beat ODU, and NC State has been nothing. I mean, they've been a poor version of what we were hoping for. In fact, I was looking at NC State over wins for the season at over 6.5, and I never pulled the trigger. And really, if they lose this game, it's going to be tough to get there, to be honest.
Yeah, Steven, and I'm seeing 6.5. Marshall 4-0, NC State 3-2. That spread is not making very much sense to me. I think that should be minus 2.5, if anything, for NC State. I think Marshall's live on the road.
Now, I'll say this. NC State might put up a good offensive performance for once. So 44.5 might be some low-hanging fruit for a total. And you can't juice that up as well because we expect offense from NC State, and we just haven't seen it. But if Marshall's going to win, I think they win this because they probably actually outscore them, and NC State makes a mistake or two. But over 51.5 plus 186, over 53.5 plus 220. So that's what I would kind of lean if we're looking at that game. All right, scrolling down, Washington State is interesting to me at UCLA. I've watched Washington State before against Oregon State, and Oregon State's good. Washington State thumped them pretty well. UCLA, I've watched them as well. They're not as good. So Washington State plus 136 on the road. So it's college football, people. Anything can happen. So just don't think I'm an idiot for saying this. But you're getting 7-1 odds for Washington State to win by 2 scores, 14-0. Dave, any thought on this one?
Trying to find that game there in my list.
3:00 Saturday Eastern Standard kickoff, which is an early game out there in the Rose Bowl, where they will be playing for UCLA and Washington State.
Right. Yeah. Now UCLA, I think Washington State is another one who's live on the road. Ranked 13 in the country.
Yep.
They play tough. I watch a lot of college football on Saturdays. I really enjoy college football, and from what I've seen, the couple games that I have for Washington State, they play tough, Steve. And I think they're in a good position to take one on the road here.
I'll say this, Dave, about the way college football has gone so far. I watch college football, but a lot of times I'm involved with rugby on Saturdays. So, I'll play my one little bet and just kind of let it go and maybe play another one for the night game. If I'm feeling really crazy, let me get a little head start on the NFL. I'll bet on Hawaii. I've always been that kind of guy. Just never overly heavily invested in college football. And I haven't been this year either. I've kind of learned that, I don't need to. I like my soccer on Saturdays. And honestly, by the time soccer's over with, I'm ready to say, a lot of times with soccer, you're ready to catch up, right? But, I'll just I'll be slack about it. I won't be crazy. I'll just do my little $5 or $10 3-game, 4-game parlay. And a lot of times I am flexing these numbers to weird ass numbers like Washington State minus 14.5 at 7-1. And it's just a sport where that kind of think of it as a slot machine, honestly, right? You pulled a handle in college football, it's going to spin, and how's it going to spin out? And trust me, a lot of times Washington State minus 14's going to spin out because that's just the way it goes in college football. Not so much in the NFL, much harder, but easier here. Your thoughts on that, what I just said?
Yeah, it's definitely easier to get your numbers here in college. Some of these teams can just have a really good weekend and kind of take off on the opponent. So much easier to get your numbers here, and I think that's pretty attractive.
The big game at 3:30, Dave, and we'll do the quick shots after this one because I think this is the most important one of the day. Where is Alabama in the mix of things? Are you serious? Alabama is ranked 11, and Texas A&M is unranked, which makes no sense to me. I think both of these are top 10 programs, and honestly, I have props on Texas A&M to win the SEC, and they've shown some great defense here. The Aggies, and I think that Alabama's definitely right for the picking again because they've proven they can lose, and I'm not sold on that quarterback. And you know what? The jig is up a little bit. Everyone's down on Bill Belichick kind of being a little outdated. How about Nick Saban here? You know, you can kind of point the finger at him a little bit. Alabama just isn't what they are here the last 5 years compared to the decade before that. And Texas A&M is a team that has beaten them before, mainly in the Johnny Manziel era. But I think Texas A&M is live. Dave, you know this team well. What do you think?
I think they certainly could be. Alabama's definitely had their problems so far this year. So it wouldn't surprise me. I see Alabama -1. So that kind of tells you what they're thinking as well. Texas A&M is at home. That could cause problems for Alabama. And here's the messed up part. Texas A&M 4-1, playing well, right? Unranked. But if you look at LSU, ranked 23 at 3-2, tell me why that is, because I don't know. But yeah, Steve, this is going to be another good game of the day. Certainly one I'll be keeping an eye on, and yeah, Alabama could be in trouble.
All right, quick hitters here. Let's see here. North Carolina, Syracuse. North Carolina laying 9.5, 59.5.
Let's see here.
Yeah, I'm asking you.
Oh, in Syracuse, this should be an over game. Although that's what I thought with Syracuse last week.
Right. Yeah,
they didn't give it to me.
Clemson can stymie you that way, though, right?
Yeah, that's. But I tell you what, this should play to the over. Now, NC State ranked 14 at 4-0. They are -9.5.
North Carolina, of course.
North Carolina, yeah. Is that the one we're talking about?
Yes, and Syracuse.
Yeah, yep. But Syracuse is no slouch, Steve. So I don't know about the 9.5. I would feel much better with the over.
I could see this being a 34-27 game over 59.5. I think that's fair. Wake Forest plus 20.5 at Clemson, 52.5.
I'm not taking Clemson on that number.
I think I would look at an under there, to be honest. There's the kind of game. There's the kind of game where Wake Forest scores 9 or 13 points. Clemson scores in the 20s, upper 20s, and there you go. That's the game. Let's see. Scrolling down, college football. Kentucky, Georgia. Kentucky is getting 14.5, 47.5. They've been a nice team this year for sure. And Georgia just hasn't been the dominant, even as we joked them preseason about their weak schedule. They haven't blown out anybody. They've, in fact, flirted with disaster here a couple times. Kentucky's on fire as well. Can Kentucky compete here against Georgia, Dave? I think they can. I think 14.5 is way too many points here.
Oh, absolutely, and they cover that number. I think Kentucky is looking really good right now. I would give them a 15 next to their name instead of a 20. But I don't make the rankings. I think they're better than a 20 though. That's for sure. They definitely cover this number, I think, Steve.
The one team I think that can flex their muscles because they have the whole time. They're laying 18.5 at Minnesota, are the Wolverines, Michigan. Michigan is a team. I tell you what, Dave, if I'm going to make a bet Saturday night, I might be looking at this as the Michigan to win by 31 points or more. Let me get that scoring band up here. It's the 5-point bands under scoring, and Michigan to win by 31 points or more is plus 350. Fleck and the Gophers had a terrible loss at Northwestern. Now they've been scoring some points too. Their games have been more over games than their traditional under games. That's the one thing I've noticed about Minnesota, but that tells me that they have no defense, and they're able to score a little bit. So I think Michigan can have a field day here. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, Michigan should slice them up, Steve. There's really not much other to say. I thought Minnesota would have been better defensively this year. I haven't really seen much of that from them. So Michigan should really have their way with them.
Yeah, 18.5 is not enough. This is going to be 49-7 or 14 or something like that. Let's be honest. All right, Notre Dame number 10 against Louisville number 25. Notre Dame, excuse me, minus 6.5, over under 53.5. Now, Sam Hartman gets a couple receivers back here. I don't think we'll see much resistance on the Louisville defense against Notre Dame, to be honest. So I can see points aplenty. Now, I think Louisville can have some success at home, scoring points too. So I think over 53.5, where Notre Dame's been a little bit of an under team here lately. I think this can be one that will actually go over. In fact, I thought the game against Duke would go over, but the defenses played very, very well. Louisville with Braum is going to give them an honest shot here at home. So I don't expect Louisville to win this game. I expect it to be a fun game. And if it's going to be fun, it's going to be over 53.5. What do you got?
Yeah, Steve, it very well could be. Notre Dame's playing some pretty good football. They have the one loss. But wow, Steve, they really probably should have won that game. They should be 5-0 in the top 5, in my opinion, right now with the way their defense is playing. So that number kind of makes me the over number makes me a little nervous. I would expect Notre Dame to cover. I like them to probably win this by 10.
Underrated here is Georgia Tech. Now, they had a bad loss last week. They went up big against Bowling Green of all teams, and then blew it here. But they're going to play Miami, and Georgia Tech can put out an honest effort. Let's see. They're catching 19.5. Again, I think it's too much, to be honest. Saturday, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, over under 57.5. I think Georgia Tech can hang with number 17 Miami. They're catching 19.5. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a single-digit win by Miami, and Georgia Tech can actually cover this comfortably. They just are well coached with the guy who took over here at the end of last season ever since. But you're getting plus 215 just to lose this game by 10 still. I don't know. I think a lot of people will be wanting to bet Miami on Saturday night. Oh, it's Georgia Tech. They can beat the crap out of them. Here you go. It's a 10-point game. What do you think, Dave?
That's a possibility, Steve, but I tell you what, Miami looks like a team revived, and I think they roll in this one. I really do.
All right. Yeah. Okay. So I don't doubt you there either. Let's see here. I'm trying to get the schedule up because, of course, on all our betting lines, we don't have Virginia and Virginia Tech popping up. So I need to scroll down here to what we have. All right. So it is October, the first week in October.
Are you looking for Virginia?
Yeah, let's just make sure we cover everything. Boston College does play Army. I'm not going to have an opinion there. Probably take Army. Do you have anything for that, Dave?
I was just about to say that as well.
William and Mary plays at Virginia. So maybe Virginia can get something going finally as they play William and Mary. Your thought there?
Yeah, Steve, I'll tell you what, Virginia has been in some of these games. They just can't finish. I think they can get their first win this week, though.
And the one game, so we do have a couple buys. Pittsburgh's on the bye. So is Duke. But one more good game, Dave. We forgot to go over this so that's again, they're not showing me the line. That's why I didn't go over it. But let's get the line in Florida State. Nephew Dave's team as they play Virginia Tech, who made a change at quarterback. And they actually did pretty good last week and won convincingly. So maybe they're getting a little bit of I know this. Texas get a lot of points, whatever the line is. I have no clue what this point spread is.
24 for Florida State.
Yeah, here you go. 24-52. Is that what you see for an over-under?
I don't see the over. Let me see if that's on here.
52.
Yeah.
I got 52.
53.
52 and a half, 53. All right, so it's floating around out there. Plenty of good numbers. I'm seeing right now so it opened up at Virginia Tech plus 27 and a half, and they've been bought down at plus 24. This is interesting, Dave. They could actually cover this or push to 20. If you got the 27 and a half, I'd feel better about it. But Florida State is a class up, right? Is this a beatdown of epic proportion here?
Well, I'll tell you what. Virginia Tech better come to play because if they don't, they are going to be in for a long day. Florida State 4-0. We're in the top 5 for very good reason. And this could get out of hand early if Virginia Tech doesn't watch out.
All right. So best bets for tonight. We have Skins in a blowout, Dave.
I'm thinking so. Let me
at least win by a couple scores here.
I think so. I have them 13 and a half, and I'll read off this bet for you. This is my good one.
All right.
Oh, come on. That is definitely my password.
Dotson for 1. Robinson for 2, right?
Commanders minus 3.5, first half spread. Alternate spread for the whole game, minus 13.5. Brian Robinson for 2, Dotson for 1, and under 42.5.
All right, and I piped the music down. It might be loud in our ears, but it's not loud for the audience. But I will say this. I like the Commanders big. I like the Orioles and the Phillies. We'll go with that. Dave likes the Braves and the Orioles. I do know that. And Texas, Oklahoma, big game this weekend. Second biggest behind my Patriots and Saints, right? Okay, Friday soccer paycheck tomorrow, 4:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. A lot to get to, as a lot of these teams played earlier this week as well. So there's going to be some interesting angles with the soccer. And most of the games on Sunday, too. And then our main show, The Round Robin, here Sunday morning. Same platform that you're streaming from now, deepend757.com. All right, for Nephew Dave, I'm Stephen Murray from our Chick Speech Studios. This is the Round Robin on the Deep End Broadcasting Network. All right, good luck, everyone.